The steps before step one of standing on stage and doing a talk is to prepare the talk and then send it around to other people and get some feedback on it. And all of those things and then you stand on stage and then you deliver the talk. So step one is delivering the talk, and the steps before step one are all of the other things first. When this year, I've discovered some things that I found a little bit depressing. One is that some people don't know what they're doing until their phone bleeps and tells them that they've got a meeting in 15 minutes. I didn't think that that was possible. And there's something else that I learned this year, is that some people can turn up to work on a Monday morning and open their calendar and discover that all kinds of people have put meetings in their calendar. So, a few nods in the audience. Yeah, I would suggest that that system is switched off right away, because that sounds like people are then victims of an Outlook calendar system rather than they're managing their day-to-day, things that they should be managing day-to-day, which means that they can do all the things that people have been standing on here so far today. They can actually do that. But it sounds like somebody else is organizing people's time for them, and that just feels weird to me. What one thing can I just spark into somebody's head when they're driving to work in the morning or when they're on the train that will just get them to say to themselves, am I just going to switch into all of those reinforcing things and let them all wash over me again today? Or is today the day when I'm actually going to start experimenting and doing something different? So the steps before step one. Okay, so what could I do? Let's think about this and think about that and think about that. So actually turn up to a meeting having thought about what the meeting's about and having thought out of some lines to say when I get there. That kind of thing. Preparing before we do things. Because business being what it is, and certainly construction being what it is, it's just sometimes you feel as if you're literally just bouncing from one thing to another, out of control, and you're driving home, and you may or may not say to yourself, was that a great day? Did I do all the things I set out to do? But that could be a depressing question. We did a course in the railways back in the days when I still did courses, and there was a guy that came to the course, and in module 2, people bring a social and domestic problem, and this guy said, my 6-year-old daughter wakes us up at ridiculous hours of the morning, and she's driving us crazy, and what can we do? And so the other 14 people in the class went around the flip chart and came up with all kinds of elaborate solutions to, how you could create conditions where this child would not come and wake them up. And 2 weeks later, he came back to the next module, and people said, well, so what's happened? And he said, yeah, I sorted it, yeah. And so we said, well, what did you do? And he said, we put some curtains up in her bedroom. We never mentioned that. He never mentioned there was no curtains in the bedroom. And it's funny, an awful lot of the times where we're meeting with clients, we get an idea of what's going on in the business, and then we visit the business, and then all these other things that they never mentioned just suddenly become apparent. It's unbelievable how many people miss out key things, when they're describing their problems, they miss out some key things, So starting with the big things and pinpointing, the things that are going on is very important. But most people don't do that. What they do is talk about just the immediate impacts on them and don't give you the bigger picture. So I keep saying to people, just experiment with the family, yeah? Just put a sign on the fridge. Put a sign on the fridge tomorrow that says, "Dear kids," yeah? "Dear kids, I will give you the network password code, yeah, if you do the washing up, mow the lawn, wash my car," yeah? And you could do that every day. Just imagine how many things you could get done if you change the network password code to the wireless, yeah, and made it contingent on them doing jobs. See, behavioral science in action. Now I can see people are going, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to have to work out how to change the network code now. So this too busy thing, I wrote a book on it, and somebody phoned me up and said, read the book, it was great. Didn't have a chance to read it properly, though. So I'm going to read it again and get back to you. Yeah. Okay. Then the number of people who say to the person who wrote the book that says the too busy trap, oh, I just can't find 20 minutes. I know it's hard to believe, you know. And so I say, why don't you just get up 20 minutes earlier tomorrow than you were going to and just read it then, you know. This is a paralysis caused by the need to be too busy, caused by being showered with all of the reinforcers that you receive by being too busy. It's what my ex-boss used to say, a self-licking ice cream cone. Yeah, every day. I'm just, you know, showered with all of this reinforcement by being too busy. So getting people to write down what they are doing is very hard, but very useful. Getting people to write down what other people should be doing is very easy, yeah? So you are willing to write down some aspirational stuff, yeah? But most people will not write down even the things they do from 9 till 10, from 10 till 11, from 11 till 12, from 12 till 1. Even if it would only be one sentence, won't do it. You won't do it tomorrow, guarantee it, yeah? Don't even try it, you won't do it. Sadly, there's still a bunch of fear created, sometimes by a person, sometimes by groups of people in the business, and that produces a paralysis. And sometimes we go into an organization and they want to fix this, and this, and again, the first thing we see is the fear caused by, you know, person A, person B, or whatever it is going on. Dealing with that is really, really hard. You can tell when people are suffering stress of being under pressure by, you know, created by somebody else. And it's very sad indeed. And you can stand there and wonder why they're doing all of these, what apparently appear to be avoidance behaviors. And trying to tie up their avoidance behaviors to the person that's creating the fear is very difficult indeed. But getting people to say, yeah, I would just love the opportunity to just do my job, you know. I'd love to be able to do my job, unhindered. So I thought, okay, let's talk about bullying, because maybe it's just this year, but in some organizations, I've seen some scary examples of it. So let's talk about it. It may well exist. So are there some things in the past that I experienced in terms of bullying that I could remember? So there was two. So I was in a construction team, and the construction manager called a meeting, and it was at 2 o'clock. And at 2:30, the guy in charge of mechanical and electrical turned up, and you know, a bit stressed and everything. And he'd been on this project, and stuff had gone wrong, and he turned up late, and he sat down and he apologized. And he got the sandwich out of his bag and started eating his sandwich, and the boss screamed at him, you know, put that sandwich down, you know. You don't eat sandwiches in my meeting. So that's how we all responded. And then the meeting continued for another hour and a half in a kind of, you know, somber mood. And, but the day after, somebody said to him, Ian, you haven't got a sandwich on you, have you? And then somebody was in the general office saying, nobody got any sandwiches in here, have they? I'm just checking, you know, just in case, you know. And so it became quite a funny joke. So everybody was then talking about, you know, you're not packing a sandwich, are you? You know, I was just... But the downstream impact of this was the boss was completely clueless that all of this entertaining humour was going on about his episode with the sandwich, and to this day he doesn't know that we derived so much reinforcement out of something that he created. And I did receive some, probably plenty of public, but there's one particular one that I could remember where I was quite high up in this organisation. My boss invited me to this meeting. I turned up. I walked into the room, and in front of everybody else, he was kind of did a lot of swearing and pointing and finger pointing and swearing and stuff. And so I turned around and walked out and let them have the meeting. And the next day I went to see him and said, and you know, have you got a minute? Yeah, I've got a minute, so I'll close the door. Why? I'm just going to close the door because I just want to talk to you. Okay. Yeah, what you said yesterday, that's unacceptable. Sorry, but that's unacceptable. And he went, what? I said, well, you know, I repeated what he said, and I said, it's just unacceptable. He went, oh, no, there was no, it was that, you know, there was no ill, you know, there was no, that wasn't a problem. And I said, well, it was a problem with me. It was, you know, I'd like an apology, yeah? And if more people did that, you know, if more people did that, I'm really sorry, that's unacceptable, then I wouldn't be talking about this kind of stuff now, yeah? So is bullying back in fashion? It's back in fashion on telly. There's television programs out there. And I want to say to somebody, yeah, but that's telly. You know, that's supposed to be the entertainment business. That's not supposed to be real life. Yeah? And so the people who can't do the overt bullying, you end up with this. And I think an awful lot of unreturned emails and unreturned phone calls is to do with passive-aggressive. Yeah, I'm going to choose who I respond to. I'm going to control the situation. I'm going to derive some reinforcement out of just ignoring that person over there and issuing some extinction. And sadly, there's a little bit too much passive-aggressive bullying going on in terms of what I may or, who I may or may not talk to, what I may or may not do. The environment, so the environment's the room and the people in it. Yeah, so your office and the people in it, your car and the other people in your car with you, your living room and the people in the living room with you. Overlapping antecedents are we're going to improve safety, so we're going to have a weekly safety meeting. It's not done anything, we'll have a fortnightly one. Or that's not done anything, we'll have a monthly one as well. Then we'll have a safety audit. Then we'll have a director's safety audit. We'll have a newsletter. We'll have a charity check. You know, people are taking all these pills, and nobody has the slightest idea what any of them did. Whereas if you were actually taking pills, you'd take one pill and see if it worked. Yeah. So overlapping antecedents, very dangerous. We assume when we write a process that there's going to be a skillful delivery. If you want to get your bank statement by going into the bank, yeah, you have to get every step right of that process. If you get any of those steps wrong, you don't get to see your bank statement. So if that were the case with all of the processes in business, then everybody would do all the processes because there would be a consequence in place for each step. And then all the processes would work. Oh, that sounds complicated, I hear you cry. If it's not working, it's not working. If it's not working, stop, yeah? Make some space for something else. But stop adding stuff without taking it away, without taking the other stuff away. I think our job is to see if we can get you, when you're in your car on your way to work, to say to yourself, is this the day I'm going to do this different thing? Is this the day I'm going to try something else out, yeah? But it's just a question of considering what somebody else is going to say before you go in the meeting, and you could actually save another meeting, yeah? Okay, Bill's probably going to say these things, so what am I going to say? If I say this, would it be nuclear? If I say this, would it be, ineffective? What could I say that would get us to the next place? Is it worth spending 10 minutes before you go into the meeting just thinking of some sentences that you could say out loud that would have an impact on everybody else? And what I'm saying is, yes, these are the steps before step one. Thank you very much.